Welcome to Module 8, Lesson 2, What to Share on Instagram Stories. Now, one thing I want to reiterate that we talked about before, not everybody sees all the things you do, so it's absolutely okay to rotate and recycle the content you share on your story. So that's good news, right? For you, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. You don't have to create like Oscar-winning content every day. You can actually create templates and things that you go back to over and over and over again, because not everyone is guaranteed to see all your stuff. So that's nice to know. Now, like I went over in the video before with the downloadable Instagram stories schedule, we are going to share things like periodical content. It's everything that you share weekly, like your blog posts or your podcast episodes, or maybe you're linking to your shop. Maybe I have Creative Market new products in my shop every week, and I'm going to feature the new product of the week every Tuesday or whatever I decide. It could be things like that, but you're just going to make sure you are sharing stuff every week that people can count on to see what's new with you. Another great thing to use stories for is to direct to other platforms. So definitely make sure you're including those calls to action. Like if you have the capability to do links in your stories, then you do swipe up for and use those links. But you can direct these people to anywhere you want them to go, even if it's just your Instagram feed. Like I talked about in the last lesson, blogettes will use their Instagram stories to direct to their newest Instagram posts sometimes, or they can direct to Facebook. Gary Vaynerchuk shares a lot about follow me on Facebook and shows people how to actually click like and follow his content. It could also be watch me on Snapchat. It could be watch me on Facebook Live. It could be follow me on Twitter for a Twitter chat. It could be any number of things. But I absolutely believe that while definitely have a core platform where your biggest social following is going to be and you're going to be more present every day, you should choose that. It's very important to not put all of your eggs in one basket. So definitely, like I talked about before, there's two camps: be everywhere or be one place. I don't believe you should be in one place, but definitely don't overwhelm yourself and feel like you have to create amazing, unique content on every platform if you don't have help. If you're just starting out, pick one. Be really present for about 3 months, and then if you feel comfortable in 3 months to add on another platform, do that. But absolutely, tomorrow something could happen and Instagram could take your feed down and you have to start from scratch. So by directing people with this platform to other places, you're just making sure you're not having all your eggs in one basket, and if something disastrous happens, you're stuck with no more audience. Instagram Stories is a place that you can delight and inspire people every single day. You can give people a reason to look at your content, to look at your feed, to see what's new with you. So take a minute to look and see what other people are doing and what delight and inspires you, because especially if you are very much your ideal client, if you're like, I want people to buy things from me that are a lot like me, then take that into consideration and start looking about what are the things that you like, what are the things that you subscribe to and then you want to see. And if you're not your own ideal client, then find someone who is and ask them what they love seeing on Instagram stories. Just send them a quick DM on Instagram and say, hey, I'm doing a little bit of research. I'm revamping my Instagram stories strategy. Would you mind telling me, like, whose stories do you love? Who should I be following? Or just kind of keep in mind about the things that they reference. If someone talks, that's how I found Mr. Orlando Soria, is I found him from Identity Collective. That's someone she watches constantly. She talked about on her feed and her stories, so I started following them, right? It's the big magic world of social media. You can simply ask people now what they want to see from you. Okay, and here is the fun part. I'm going to show you guys some examples of the people that I think are doing this really, really well. I've already talked about a lot of them, but now you can see this visually for yourself, what I mean when I talk about Gary Vaynerchuk or Think Creative Collective or whoever else I talk about, blogettes. I love their stories. So here's just some examples. I thought this was brilliant of Gary Vaynerchuk. It's telling you, hey, don't miss out on all my content. Make sure you're the first people to see it on Facebook. And it actually directs you, this is how you follow me. This is how you turn on notifications. This is how you'll be the first to know when I drop new stuff. That's so smart. And he actually shares this all the time. This is some of his periodical content. I feel like every single week, at least 2 to 3 times a week, he's putting that whole sequence, that whole little video on his stories. So he's encouraging people constantly to make sure you're following me. Here's an example of blogettes. I love when they share their stories, and that's their little blog post with the posts, scrambled out. And then they do some of these Q&A call outs and they'll answer them in the story. I thought that was a really smart way to get engagement from their followers. You can share a recipe, even something as simple as granola, in your stories. And then here is Think Creative Collective's newest podcast that they share in their stories as well. So those are just some ideas that I would like to share with you guys about to get your, minds going, get the brainstorming happening about what you want to share on your Instagram stories. Now, in the next lesson, I'm going to share the different tools that I use to keep reposting this, because some of you might be like, oh, I thought it was like the last 24-hour photos. So I'm going to show you exactly the tools that I use to schedule this periodical content over and over and over.